All right, going live in 3, 2, 1. This is Olivia On Air, episode number 40. We have Olivia on this evening. How are you doing this evening, Olivia?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. Before we go too far, I might forget this. The movie we're doing tonight, Singing in the Rain, only has in the title only has one G in singing, so it's not singing, it's sing in the rain. And so if it took me about a half hour to find it online before I could actually look at it, because I kept on typing out the word singing with two G's, and it wouldn't come up anywhere. And finally, I realized I had to remove the second G in order to find the movie. So
Wow, it didn't come up anywhere. They didn't like the internet didn't just like intuitively know.
no, the places I go to, you have to spell it exactly. Every word has to be written exactly right, the correct way. Otherwise, it won't pop up, which I thought was kind of weird.
That
So
is kind of weird.
and but anyway, I did find it. I was able to watch it. But for about a half hour that night, when I was bringing it up, I thought maybe I might have to cancel this movie. But then I finally found it. So we're good.
I'm glad you found it. It was pretty good. I don't want to get into it yet, but I quite enjoyed it.
We got let's see, Alexandro Rocha saying not sure what that says, and a little pukey face. Hopefully that means a good thing. I don't know. So, and pukey face back to you too. So, before we go too far, I want to remind everybody, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. And I believe, before I go too far, I'm bringing it up on my other computer here. Right now, it's 60% off. So if you get the deal, 60% off for 2 years. You get 2 years of what they refer to as reliable VPN service, which comes down to about $329 a month. That's USD. And you can block trackers and malware, as well as enjoy their new features and threat protection. I'm reading directly off their website. So also you can, several people have pointed out, you can also watch streaming services that would normally be blocked in certain parts of the world that would maybe be blocked in your country. And a lot of people have said that works pretty well. So if you decide to purchase that, it helps fund what we're doing, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So how are you doing, Olivia? Anything new in the world of your world that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Really not much new. I don't think I shared this last time because it wasn't like solidified. But I have an internship, and it's like an artistic sort of internship. So that's exciting, but it is not paid. So I'm on the job hunt. And that's really the only thing. I'm kind of just, when I'm not at the internship, I'm applying for jobs. That's kind of it.
I think a lot of internships are free or not paid. I took 2 internships when I was got out, and both of them were not paid. So
Yeah. I
and
feel like that shouldn't be allowed.
yeah, it is kind of unfair. I will say this though, both internships led to jobs for me. So
Yeah, that's
it
good.
did pay off in the long run. I did get, and in fact, the one internship I did have was at a radio station called WWRC in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I was there for about less than a month, and they hired me on. So it wasn't that long before I actually got a regular job there.
Ooh. Hopefully that works here because, like, it's hard because I started, and then a week after I started, they hired someone who does basically what I do, except I do it for free. And so it's just kind of frustrating to see that kind of
Oh,
thing happen.
oh,
But
oh.
it is a museum, so hopefully it's like a good it'll look good on my resume, and hopefully they'll hire me on. Um, but I don't know. All you can do is hope, I guess. But it seems like you should at least get paid like server salary. I would take $5 an hour. It's not much and it's pitiful, but I would do it. And it's
and
better than nothing an hour.
and maybe you'll get some tips too on there, maybe. So
Not at this one, but maybe if I beg. I don't think I'm allowed. I might get kicked out, but maybe.
I agree with you that it is unfair when you see someone else coming in to get a job and you're doing the same thing and you're getting not paid and they're getting paid and you're like, wait a minute, that's something's not right here. But
Yeah.
so hopefully that works out for you. I will say this though, the other internship I had was on a show called The Greaseman Show, which at the time he was was a shock jock. His popularity was dying off, and I was on his show for about 5 months, and I got because there was someone else that worked at that, I got a job in traffic reporting, and I was able to. My career really took off from that. So I mean, it does as long as you network and do things properly. I used to tell my students that the most unfortunately when it comes to getting a job in radio, the you can take all these classes, but a lot of times people in the industry, either radio or the recording industry, don't care what kind of degree you have or what kind of certificate you have. All they care about is that they know who you are, and the only way you can do that, unfortunately, is to do an internship. That's where you get to because they know they don't have to pay you, and you get the networking, and you meet people, and hopefully that'll expand your career. And that's what I told them. Unfortunately, the classes are one thing, but half of it is getting that internship and just meeting people and expanding from there.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of creative like industries are like that, like acting and the art world and stuff like that. It's a lot of it is kind of nepotism.
Yeah,
But that's kind of how it is.
yeah, and
It's weird.
it's very annoying, extremely annoying. They don't know who you are. They just don't want you, and it's like you can't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
alrighty, well, hopefully everything works out for you. Maybe you can keep us updated as to how you're doing there too. I'd like to. I definitely want to see what's going on with your internship and your career
Yeah.
too.
Thank you. I will. I will.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at our question from our last show. Let me bring it up here. 1 second. Here we go. So we asked, do you roller skate or blade? If so, which do you prefer? And it says 62% with yes, 26% with no, 7% with I used to, and 4% with I just started. And we got
Cool.
about a dozen or so, a little less than a dozen comments are listed here. Let's see the real ones. Oh, hold on, let me bring up my little magnifier here so I can read this a little better. Sakata, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, says the real ones ice skate. Interesting. Have you ever ice skated?
Yeah, we talked about it last show. We
Did
talked
we?
about how the ice is too hard. It's scary. I don't know how I feel about ice skating.
Yeah, I might. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself. Then I think I remember falling on my butt several times and hurting my wrists and my butt. It's just not fun. So
Yeah.
Robert Saylor says, like asking if you like racing, NASCAR, motocross, completely different, but still possible. Skates are solid and stable. Blades are more nimble and easier for stunts. Yeah, I'm wondering if you're just looking for sound of skating. Is that what it said? Or the sound of skating. Vice City has one. San Andreas has the other. Listed to them. Scurry when the shooting starts. Yes, with a big smiley face. Yeah, in both those games, Vice City and San Andreas, they're what they call NPCs, non-playable characters that are skating by, and the character you play as cannot skate without modifying the game. So as the game comes from the developer, you can see these little characters running by on their skates, and as he points out, if you start shooting their guns, they scurry away really fast. And I think if I remember correctly, in San Andreas, the skaters will actually, if there's water, you can make them go in the water and they'll actually start to swim. So I don't know. That most of the character, the only reason I bring that up is because most of the characters in the game will drown immediately, but they don't for some reason.
Oh.
Their blades, their roller skates, I guess, help them survive. Let's see. HG the Hedgehog says rollerblades, of course. There are also good gadgets for learners to learn how they can perform stunts. No protection equipment is really important for rollerbladers. Let's see if there's any one response. It says Naho. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with the protection based on my experience with ice skating for sure. So,
Yeah.
Kiss best friend Nutton. Suplars that says Blade, and Russell the Stereotype the Hat Fan 1953. Oh, just says yes. So, we had a couple of replies here. Let's see what we got here. From the Blade response, we got what's Blade? We also are in a row. And he goes, okay, so he knows what it is. Yes. Yeah, rollerblades are the ones where they're in a row, and they're kind of like one of the person. I think the first person said it. They're kind of nimble. They're like they're rounded off. They're not. Whereas roller skates, the wheels are not like that. They're more flat, more wider. So that's the main.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. How do you feel about that, Olivia? Anything else you'd like to add to that?
That's cool. I didn't think that so many people would say yes. I thought it would be more like, I don't know, more like half and half. But a lot of people roller skate or are used to. It's really cool.
That is cool. And I will be honest. I would be in the category of no. So I've never roller skated, never rollerbladed, and
I've never rollerbladed. It seems too close to ice skating, and I'm not good at balancing on like just a single blade blade. And so it makes it harder. And I also don't really want to go so fast. I like roller skates. They're more leisurely, like one of those bicycles with the big seats and cruisers. Well, a cruiser bicycle rather than a mountain bike or something.
Okay, I get so basically, yeah, you're equating the wideness of the roller skates to the what did you call it again? I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
You're equate. What was the kind of bike you said again? I'm sorry. The
Cruiser. You
cruiser.
know the big one, the ones with the big handles and the big seats that don't
Yeah.
go too fast, don't have gears or anything.
Yeah, you're equating those to the roller skates, and then the other bikes you're equating those to being like the roller blades. I guess is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So make sure I had that correct there. I got you. So, alrighty. Well, we appreciate everybody for participating in that, and we'll keep this open. If I notice any differences, obviously we come back. We can always come back, but usually by 2 weeks, that's usually the maximum we get. We usually don't get very many more comments after that. So, we have a new question for this week. Would you like to go ahead and read it while I'm typing it out?
Yes. It is related to the movie that we watched that we're going to be talking about today. The question is, what's the best thing to do when it's pouring rain outside? Watch a movie, read a book, bake or cook, sing in the rain, or pretend you're in a sad music video and look longingly out a window.
Wow, this is a pretty good question. I really like that.
Thank you.
So, what do you do when it's pouring rain outside?
Well, I didn't put one on here because I don't know how common it is, but usually when it's raining or like right before it rains heavily, I get a pretty bad headache. So usually I'm like in a dark room and just going to sleep. But if it's just casually raining, I would probably watch a movie. Me and my mom like to watch Jurassic Park when it's raining because it's cool and it's a little spooky.
And I know there's a scene in the movie where there's rain too. I don't know if
Yes.
a couple of scenes actually where the rain is pretty heavy at times.
And it makes it even more realistic. I love it.
So especially if I guess you get the hard rain and the thunderstorms, the thunder and lightning coming by.
Yes.
That's interesting.
What do you do when it rains? Do you do one of these?
Well, it poured down rain. I go into fear mode that it's going to that the power's going to go out, and I'm going to have to go get my generator out and power my house for the next couple of days. So that's
fair.
I just hope that the power doesn't go out, and I sit there. I will say today though, I had something else on my mind. I'm not going to get into what that was, and preoccupied it so much that when the thunderstorms came through, I was just like sitting there going, I wasn't worried at all. So I guess the thing I was just worried about something, and the rain just seemed to be, it was just there. I didn't even let it bother me. So, but in a normal situation, I'd be like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do when the power goes out? Or if a tree falls down and knocks the power line down, which has happened, and it's down for 3 or 4 days. It's just really frustrating. Or it knocks the internet out, which is also a possibility. I've had the internet go out. I had it go down. Last time I think it went out for a long period of time. It was like 2.5 days, but it wasn't storm related, but it has been storm related in the past. So it's kind of annoying. A tree will knock over the line. And fortunately I can run my internet off of a couple of smartphones. I just use a tether, and I can actually hook my computers up and get the full internet. It's slightly slower, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the power lines that are underneath the ground make so much more sense, and I hope that that happens um, to more places where there's power lines.
Hmm. Unfortunately, where I live, it's very rural, so I don't think that's ever going to happen where I live. So
Mm,
it's I would see that more in a subdivision kind of a situation for sure. I've lived in a subdivision where part of the neighborhood was underground, the rest was above ground, and the reason for that is because some of the houses were built in the 1950s and 60s, and there was another group that were built in the 70s. The 70s houses had the below ground, so they were like newer, so they are slightly newer, I should say. So they had the people who built those houses. This had the idea that it would be better to go underground, and I agree with that. I always wonder though if there's an issue, how much digging would they have to do if they have to replace the lines? Is that a lot of work? That's my concern. And if they would they have to take the power down for a longer period of time than if they had the power up above the ground? You know what I'm saying? Like if they had to replace a long section of cable or something.
that's true. I never thought of that. I know that it takes them probably like a month to replace the like because I've seen them. I've lived in an area where they are actively replacing the power lines with the ones that go underground, and I think it might take them about a month just because it's like them installing it. So, and I don't know. I would think that maybe they would really insulate all the power lines and stuff, so that they most likely wouldn't have to go in and replace it, or fix anything. Maybe they would just have to maintain it every like 15 years or something, maybe 20. I
Hmm.
don't know.
I would assume, and based on where you live, you're more prone to larger storms like hurricanes. So I would assume that being underground would probably be more beneficial for where you are.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so if you in where I am, it's we get those strong winds, but not as much, I would think. So hurricane season just around the corner too. So as far as the storms, I would say that's most likely. I don't know. It's kind of a gray area. It's hit or miss here, I guess, with that.
Yeah, positives and negatives. So the last answer on that on the question
Hmm.
is cut off because I did not know it was 65 characters.
Oh,
So
oh,
maybe change you are to your.
okay. Glad you caught that because I didn't see that.
You're in a sad music video. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Wind O. Can you add an OW? Was that two characters? Oh no. Dang it.
Yeah, ran out again. Yeah. Oh, we could do maybe change this to that.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
There we go. Cool.
Yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid. Um, if there was like The Climb by Miley Cyrus playing on the radio, which is like a sad, sort of sad song, sad sounding song. And it was raining, I would stare out the window and pretend like I was in a music video because it's raining in her music video, and it would be very dramatic. It was very fun.
What was the name of the song?
The Climb, like literally climbing, by Miley Cyrus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've not heard of that one. I will not play it here, but I will definitely play it because you've got me curious as to what it sounds like.
I was a huge Miley Cyrus, and still am a huge Miley Cyrus fan. Um, and so I was just obsessed with her music. It might not be amazing, like it's definitely for teens, you know?
I gotcha. Gotcha. I'm all out of touch with a lot of modern music, so it's probably it may or may not be most likely a song I've not heard, but there are some modern songs that I know it looks like it came out like 13 years ago at least. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh my God. Oof.
So it says was in the movie was it I know there was Hannah Montana the movie. I never saw the movie.
Yes. The
Was it in
movie is so good, but in the child's eyes thing, so incredible.
Alrighty. So does that look good? I'm going to go ahead and post that.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. And again, I think that's a very good question. And obviously, it's based on the movie we're reviewing, but the way the questions and everything, the answers, I mean, were really good. I hope we get a lot of good responses on this one.
Thank you. I hope so too. I hope a lot of people pretend they look longingly out a window. I think that would be funny.
Mhm. All right. So our movie for this evening, leading up to that, was "Singin' in the Rain," and I had never seen this before, and this is our third Gene Kelly movie that we've done. And I guess technically the second one was he was more like a supporting character, but he's still not. He wasn't like really a main character, but he was a supporting character for the two main characters essentially. So, but still, he was in it. So it's
Yeah.
our third Gene Kelly movie. Up until this, the only one I'd seen was the second one, which was Xanadu. We also saw, was it American in Paris? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
I forgot already. Okay, cool. And how many Gene Kelly movies have you seen so far?
Well, now only 3.
Wow.
I had seen clips from his movies and I'd seen clips of his dancing. And that is what I think that's kind of what inspired me to watch, because I really love the costumes in all 3 of the movies that I've seen. I don't know. I don't think he has anything to do with that. But I love the costumes in all 3 of the Gene Kelly movies. And the choreography is, of course, like very, very good.
Yeah,
So
and he did the. It looks like in this one, I assume it's in most or all of them. He seems to do all the choreography for the dancing.
I
So
looked it up. And this one, it says, well, I just read the first result that came up and I took it as the truth. So, I don't know if I would assume that it's true. But he co-direct or choreographed with some other guy who has a name that has the letter D in it, but I don't remember what it is.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you know what? I saw that in the credits. Let me see. We got a second here. We can always skip through here. Let me see if that pops up real quick. Oops. Oh, sorry. Wrong. There we go. There we go. Right there at the very bottom. I got it there. There we go.
Stanley Donen. There we go. Knew it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, his name is listed first, so it seems to me like he's most likely the primary, I guess. But as usual, but like I said, he does definitely do this. So, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure who Stanley Donen is. So, if I can, hold me 1 second here. Bring up this and see if I can find his name. What was it spelled again? D-O what? E-N-E-N. D-O-N-E-N. There he is at the very top. Oh, he directed this as well. Okay. Oh, he's the director. Okay. I did not realize that. So I wasn't paying that close attention. So he was the director of the movie. So I guess what happened was the two of them got together and oops, I didn't mean to click on that. And Gene Kelly and him will probably work together to get that done. I will say before we go too far, just looking at this preview, based on when we watched the movie. Oops, I keep on hitting play. Sorry, I'm thinking it's pause. The difference between this movie and Xanadu is, as you can see, as the shot zooms out there, you get an overhead view of the movie, whereas in Xanadu they didn't do that. And I was watching a critique of Xanadu, and the one thing they criticized was the fact that it was not doing that overhead view, which took away from the dance moves. Everything was very upfront and at ground level, which took away from that. And you weren't really able to see everything that was going on. And I do agree that having it up at an angle and downward, up and down like that, does give you more of an idea of what's going on. It really gives you the full feeling of it as well. What do you think?
I agree completely. This one, I think this is probably my favorite Gene Kelly movie that we've seen so far. I think it's mostly, I mean, the choreography is like some of the best that I've seen, but it's also the most choreography that we've seen, as in like it's the most dancing and singing, and it's not as plot heavy. The plot is more there to move the dance scenes along rather than the dance scenes being there to move the plot along, which I like personally a lot better, because I feel like Gene Kelly, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I feel like he's much better at communicating and portraying what his character feels through dance than through acting. I don't know it was, I don't know how else to explain it. It just, in the dancing scenes, I feel like that is his best artistic medium, and like he was really, and he can just really portray the character when he's dancing kind of better than when he's acting and just talking. I don't know why, but
I
yeah.
agree. I definitely agree. It's he came across it's basically the emotion, the what the character feels really comes through, and he does an excellent job. I've always admired him ever since I saw the movie Xanadu, and I like other than that, just like you, I'd only seen bits and pieces of his other dancing, and it always fascinated me how good he was at, how he impressed me with how good he was at that. So, and you're right, you can relay the story, especially in the American in Paris. There was a lot of story that was portrayed in that one. Um, this one was the story, the emotion, you could definitely feel it. So I will say the plot in this one was definitely felt better than the other one, the other Gene Kelly movie that we saw, American in Paris.
I
So,
agree.
and the acting by the love interest was much better. Of course, that was done by Debbie Reynolds, she was a well-known actress, and Debbie Reynolds is the mother of Carrie Fisher. And I will just bring this up, but Debbie Reynolds passed away in 2016, and Carrie Fisher died the day before Debbie Reynolds died. So they died one day apart from each other, completely unrelated deaths. So
Oh,
it's really, really eerie how that happened. So and Carrie Fisher was much younger, obviously, because she was the daughter. And it's obviously that's very bad. I'm sure that was very sad for the family to lose two people basically all at once like that. So,
yeah, that is really sad, but also kind of sweet because maybe they're together now and they just were like waiting for each other or something.
and let me bring up Debbie Reynolds' picture for those. Oh, she's taking a while. There she is. Looking at her in the movie, this is her shortly before she passed away. But in the movie, I can clearly see the resemblance between her and Carrie Fisher. So the eyes, for sure, are there.
Yeah, and the shape of their face, I think is quite similar as well.
Mhm. And the before I go too far, I don't want to forget this. But one critique I had about the movie, and it's something they've done away with for the most part in modern movies, is the villainous woman played by Jean Hagen. She played Lena, the one with the squeaky voice,
Yeah,
the squeaky annoying voice. They made her over the top, kind of bad and unlikable, so the audience would root against her. And I just don't like that kind of writing. It's because there's in real life, you very rarely meet people that are like that. You're rooting against them. There's going to be varying degrees of good and bad in everybody. And it's just, in my opinion, it's just kind of weak writing to make you root against them. So, but that was seemed to be pretty prominent during this era, into the 50s and 60s and even into the 70s. It wasn't until more recent movies and TV shows that they started to get away from that. So
I agree.
and this is very much an early, this is right when TV had just come out too. So the early 50s, not come out, but basically becoming very popular, I should say. And I know this was a theatrical release, but still, it still follows that old trope, which is kind of annoying. But still, I can understand why they did it.
Yeah, I agree. It feels when that happens, when they make the villain, like you said, over the top, evil and mean and nasty, it just feels like, and it's not like not for a kids show, because if it's for a kids show or movie, that makes sense. But if it's for an adult movie, it just feels like it's insulting, because it's like, I just trust me, I can pick up when someone is bad. You don't have to make it so obvious.
And
I
the other,
knew.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything important.
Okay. I just want to add that the woman who played the part, Jean Hagen, I will applaud her for her acting, though, because I thought it was pretty funny. So at the same time, that trope was kind of annoying, but I will applaud. She did a very, very good job. So
I
with that.
completely agree.
And her voice does not sound like that. She was putting on that voice. There are videos on YouTube. I'm not going to play any of them, but there are videos on YouTube where you can hear her normal voice, and she has a very nice voice. So it's actually it is kind of funny how she put that voice in there. She did a very excellent job of that. So
Yeah, it's impressive. I always think that, like, even though even when it's a character that I really dislike, because it worked. I really disliked this character. I always think like the actor did a good job in being in playing that kind of character, because it worked.
And
I do hate her.
then the basic plot in this is there's a lot. There's a little bit more to what I'm going to say, but basically towards the end, it was um, the her character Lina was what they just got, it was this was supposed to be during the 1920s where they were going from silent movies into talking movies, and Lina had the horrible, nasty voice, and so we bring the Debbie Reynolds character Kathy on board, and she's going to voice her. And the whole premise of the movie is, hey, that's not fair for Kathy because she's such a nice, wholesome person, and she should get her fair shot. When in actuality, I mean, it's not very common for that to be done even back in the day. So they're making it out like it's like a bad thing for her, but it's movie theater. The movies did that all the time. They were always dubbing voices in. They've done till to this day. So it's to make it make it out like the it was really bad for her is kind of pointless because it's always done anyway. It's not like it wasn't like it was unusual. It's just they were trying to make it out like it's unusual and unfair to her, but it's a common practice. So
Yeah, I would say that it was kind of weird, but maybe at the time they could get away with it because people probably didn't really know that.
right,
Um,
right, yeah, I can agree with that. I would agree with that. So,
yeah, I also would say one other critique I had was that, and it's very common with movies from well, I guess before kind of like the 70s or the 80s, they made the women so dumb. And it's like, especially at the end scene when oh, sorry, I need to pull up the characters' names. When the innocent girl,
Kathy, Debbie Reynolds
yeah,
character.
Kathy, there we go. When she was supposed to be totally confused by what was going on and what they were planning on doing when they had her sing behind the curtain and had uh, Lina be in front of the curtain, and she was so over dramatic about it. I feel like that would have been so obvious. It was obvious to I mean, I don't know. They just made, and throughout the movie, parts of it just seemed like the point of her role was to be like good at singing and nice.
Yeah,
And then the other woman was supposed to be bad at singing and mean.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
was kind of it. And that's like how deep their characters go.
yeah.
But that's, again, it's pretty common in that
Did you
time
say?
period.
I'm sorry. Did you say that they made the woman character stupid in that way? Is that what you were? Did you say that earlier? How did you?
Yeah, it just kind of she just kind of made her, the innocent one, dumb, and like the evil one was smart enough to get a lawyer, and that, I don't know, it seems kind of mean because it's like, if you're smart, then you're evil, and you also can't sing. But if you're innocent and not that smart, and you have a beautiful voice, then everyone feels bad for you. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was
I
weird.
agree. That's a good point. A very good point. I agree with that. And the other thing I wanted to add was the executive here, the big tall guy on the left, whose name was R.F. Simpson. He they made him out to be very nice and compassionate when acting like she is we're it's only fair to give Kathy a break here because it's her that's singing, whereas in reality the movie executives would be like all over trying to hide who the actual voice was. They would be the exact opposite in real life. They would purposely try to hide that. They wouldn't try to give the person a fair break. They want their person who has the name recognition to get the recognition, get that publicity. They don't, the person that's a nobody, they don't mind hiding them and making sure they don't know that they're unknown to the world. And the prime example I can give is I think it's the movie Snow White. Walt Disney, the woman who sang did the voice of Snow White. It's either Snow White or Cinderella. I can't remember which one, but the woman who did the singing in that movie, Walt Disney himself, uh, wanted to keep her voice so much for that character that he was able to keep her from getting a job doing anything else. So her only notable career um, position was doing that. She did nothing else because Walt Disney halted her career. And That was pretty common for that. In this movie, they make the studio executive, Mr. RF here, to be more kind and compassionate. I don't believe that would be the case. So
I agree. I didn't know that about the Walt Disney thing. That's like actually shocking. But I do agree, and I was thinking, like when Lina brought the lawyer papers, well, first thing I thought was if he is the owner of the company, he would probably get his lawyers involved and not just accept his fate. But also, I agreed that like he would not care about like Lena said, a nobody's career.
right,
He would care about who's making him money in the moment.
right, exactly.
So I did agree with that. But you know,
Yeah,
the plot has to have some flaws.
yeah. So you have to overlook. Yeah, I guess I'm overthinking the movie. So
Yeah, you can't compare it too much to real life. It's certainly more about the dancing, and the singing was also good.
hmm. And I'll say they're very, very happy. I mean, when I was really surprised when the movie first started. This very opening scene, they're just coming out and they're like so happy when they're singing right there. I was not expecting that. It was just a little too over the top for me for their happiness. It was good though. It was just kind of like, whoa, what? I'm looking at this. So so as the movie goes through a basic rundown of the story, we get to see Gene Kelly's character. His name is Don Lockwood. I have the list in front of me, and so he and the Lena, that's her, basically they're showing up for the movie premiere. And is this the movie that that they talked about at the end of the movie, or is this another movie?
I think this was a different movie.
Oh, it
Because the
was. You're right.
one,
Yeah,
yeah, the one that they had at the end was the one that they were making
yeah.
during the rest of this, most of the plot.
Right. Yeah. For a second there, I wasn't sure it was like they're flashing back, but you're right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So yeah, he goes through the story of his life, which is kind of comical. He started off, he was the story where he was over exaggerating, say, to make it sound like he was a big guy the whole time. It turned out, no, they showed the images showed the exact opposite. He was not doing all the things he said, which was kind of funny.
I did think that was funny. He was talking about his like biggest principle in life was dignity, and then they were just showing all this opposite of dignity things
Right.
he was doing,
Yeah.
dignified things he was doing.
And the friend that's here, the friend as they show them growing up together, doing all their like their vaudeville stuff here.
I
Now
was
they're
impressed
Oh yeah, with that, yeah, pretty
with
good
the
stuff.
violin.
We get back to that. There we go. So the yeah, go ahead. What were you going to add? Anything else to that?
No, just impressed.
So we go up. Let's see. So what happens is they're filming a scene. Oops, I went past it already. They're filming a scene. It was like a western, cowboy and western scene, and I can't seem to find it. But what happens is as they're filming it, the person who's doing the acting that wasn't doing it right or something. I can't remember. And they said, hey, he's there doing he was doing something behind the scenes. I forgot what it was now. And he says he could do it, and the director says, "Sure, we can give you a try." So that's how his career basically took off.
Yeah,
Doing
he was doing I think he was doing violin, and his friend was doing piano.
right,
And then the guy who was in the western didn't fall properly or didn't do the stunt properly, and got knocked out or something, I think. And then Gene Kelly, what was his name?
Don.
Don. He came in and he was like, I can do it, and he did. So
Yeah. Oh, here it is. It's back here. It's just before this. I remember. See. And of course, there it is. That's the scene right there, where he's off for because yeah, he's doing the western. He comes over and he goes over the top. He does a great job, and they do a pretty decent job of hiding the stunt. You can see it's actually a stunt person that's doing it for him. So
yeah, and the same thing with the I just remembered the scene where he goes into the house that explodes. You
yeah,
can see where they cut it off.
yes,
Where
very like a very sloppy edit essentially.
yeah.
So it's
Well, probably good for the time. And I just thought it was funny that you could see clearly like the swap from, but it's outside, so it's harder to, at that time anyway, it's harder to get the same light and the same look of the trees and foliage and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The people over here, you can actually, there we go. That's it right there. So these people actually changed a little bit too. So, but yeah, everything changes. So yeah, you're right. It would be, I guess, yeah, for the time it came out, yeah, it would be pretty common. But for modern day stuff, that would be very sloppy. So let's see. So he comes in. We see, oh, the two of them are engaged to be married, but it turns out it's not. They're not really. It's just a publicity thing to promote it. But they're not. They don't even love each other. Or at least Lina kind of likes him, but he does not like her. So
And one thing that I was kind of confused about was how, I mean, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it seemed like she was supposed to be dumb, like as a Lina as the person was supposed to be dumb, and it wasn't just something that she was pretending, because she it seemed like she thought that they were actually engaged to be married, and they were actually going to, it's at least to me, unless I'm like not understanding something, but it seemed to me like she actually thought that they were engaged, or a couple, and it wasn't just for publicity. She didn't realize or something like that, and she kept saying, like, throughout the movie, her kind of her tagline was, "Do you think I'm stupid?" or something like that. But then when she needs to be evil, she knows to call her lawyers, and she knows, to find all this information out, and she knows how to, I don't know, like, save herself.
right. So when the plot needs her to be stupid, she's stupid. When the plot needs her to be smart, she becomes smart.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah. So not so good writing, but again, that's overthinking the movie.
Yeah.
So you got to remember it's simple plot. So he comes out as the story goes along. He's chased by his fans. He gets away, and by getting into Debbie Reynolds' car, and that's where we meet her for the first time. She explains a little comical thing where she thinks she's where I've seen you before. You're a criminal, of course, and then a cop comes along and identifies him. So she goes, "Oh, you're a famous movie star," and then she reveals that she's she's not famous, but she's a stage actor, and so he talks down like that was nothing, and so as he goes on, he starts thinking about her, so he becomes more interested in her. This is where we're introduced to talking movies for the first time. They think it's a gimmick, and it's never going to go anywhere. And then it turns out it's as the movie progresses, it becomes a thing. And the movie he talks about, I didn't look it up. He mentions a movie in this. I'm not sure if that's the first talking movie that was ever made or not. But he does mention a specific movie title, and as if that was going to like it meant something. So it may have been the very first talking movie, at least in this movie, it is very first talking movie, and that made a major impact. And that from that point, they realize it's not a gimmick; it's actually something that's here to stay. And so that's when they realize that they have to change their way of doing things. As far as this is where we meet Kathy again, and she's angry, so she puts a pie or a cake into Lena's face, and
Well, she meant it for Dawn.
right, yeah, sorry, thank you. She just missed him, and he didn't really dodge it very much. It's almost like it was obviously meant for him, but it looked like it actually went for her. So
Yeah.
so we go along we got a little dance routine here, which is pretty good. Oh, this guy right here, he says how's he gonna, something about being funny or laughing. I can make you laugh. I forget how the song went. I got to be honest, everything he did in that song, it did not make me laugh. So I don't mean about it
Yeah.
sound rude. It wasn't very funny. So
I feel like at that time, slapstick comedy was really fun to see, so that's probably why it was so physical. But I also agree, physical comedy, well, it was funny when I was like 13. I thought it was great. But after a while, you kind of grow past physical comedy, and it just seems like someone is embarrassing themselves on a carpet in front of a green couch.
yeah, yeah. So it might have been like you said, maybe at the time it was maybe more or less funny. It just I don't know. It just didn't really seem to work very well. So But the dancing was pretty good though. The goofy
Yeah.
face kind of were way over the top though, in my
It
opinion.
was impressive how he like his. I mean, his knees and his joints are better than mine. I'm only like 21, and it was impressive to see how much he could throw himself around.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I
say
did,
that.
yeah. And those dance moves where he was jumping on the wall, flipping around, were pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
So we go along now. This is when they realize that her voice, Lena's voice, is no good. She's not good at acting. She's no good. Oh, actually, they're still doing a silent movie here. I'm sorry. This is still a silent movie because they're angry at each other in a way. They
Oh
have.
yeah.
I forgot about that. So they're actually talking back and forth, and it's a comical scene. I don't remember what they were arguing over, but
He was. Oh, I kind of do. He was angry at her because he couldn't find. I keep forgetting their names. He couldn't find Kathy, and he thinks that it's and she says, yeah, and she says something like, yeah, I know, I made sure that she like was fired from her job, and you know you couldn't find her basically, and that's what they were arguing about.
that's right. Thank you. And before we go too far, Kairua says hi. Hey, back.
Hi.
And so as we go along, so he's angry at her now for doing that, and now he's like he wants to find Kathy to make up for what happened. What's that? Where's that? It's weird. Remember that's. Oh, I can't. Now, of course, I can't get it to stop there. There's that weird scene where there's like there are four heads in the middle. I don't remember that for some reason.
I liked it. This after they had they were doing the silent movie. This is the part where they are now, talking about how to make it into a talking movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
I forget. I think this montage is supposed to be them filming talking movies or filming talking videos or something like that. I was kind of confused. I liked it because it was fun and colorful.
Oh yeah.
And I love the outfits. It was so cool.
And I didn't realize. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I thought this was the same woman. They were just putting her in different poses. And I realized at the end, no, it's not. There was obviously each woman they were in those different poses. So, but and yeah, so he finally catches up with her, and he keeps on wanting to be with her, and she's not really too keen, I think. And then we have more of our dance scenes. Let's see. Oh, we have to go. Now we have to go through the pronunciation of words, enunciation, so everyone can speak correctly, which is it's kind of funny. Lena does not know how to speak, and her coach keeps on telling her how to pronounce things, and she just pronounces it the same way over and over again. And
I want to say I was a little confused because I feel like the uniqueness of actors' voices. Like the first people that come to mind are like Alan Rickman and Liam Neeson. The uniqueness of the voice of the actor is part of what makes them a desirable hire, like a desirable actor to hire. And so I was maybe it was accurate to the time, but I can't understand why they would want everyone to speak like in the same way, in the same elegant, like slightly British, but not really kind of voice. And even if it was for that movie, I don't see why they couldn't have hired a different actress to play with Dawn. Like again, this is probably overthinking it, but I feel like it would have been easier to hire a different actress to play with Dawn to fit that role, and then keep Lina on to play different roles that fit her voice. You know?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Why do they always have to be together? You know?
Right. And I was gonna say something. I forgot what it was. I'll remember. But no, you didn't do anything. Yeah. So we get to see the okay, we get to see so they had to put this is kind of comical. They're trying to place the microphone in different places. I thought they did a pretty funny job with that. I remember what I was gonna say now. When you talk about everyone speaking the same, this is getting where they were getting out of the era where people, for some reason, up through the 40s, you would oftentimes see everybody's speaking very much the same, especially the men. They talk very fast for some reason, and they all talk like you said, like the same. And they'd be talking very fast and they blah, 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 and you're like, but the main characters would not. So the example I like to give is if you've ever seen the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart has the personality. He was able to speak in his normal way, but everyone else around, most of the other men around him spoke in very fast tones, almost like they did it intentionally. Like everyone had to speak the exact same. So, which is and the same would go for like classic movies like with the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers would have their own way of talking, which would be very fast but very unique. But everyone else around them would talk in that very fast, generic tone all the time. So, and they got away from that. I'm not sure. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they talk really, really fast in the older movies?
Yeah, and like everyone had a continental accent, even though it wasn't real.
Right, right, yeah. So, and I think this movie was getting at the end of that era. So like into the 50s and definitely into the 60s, they did away with that. So you don't see movies like that anymore. So
That makes sense. And I mean, I feel like when I hear different accents, it's easier for me, or different, not like drastically different accents, but different ways of speaking. It's easier for me to remember who's who and differentiate which character said what and stuff like that.
yeah. Another example, really good example would be I forget his name now. He was in The Shining. Also he played the Joker in the Batman movie in 1989 or 88. Oh, hold on. I know his name is coming to me. Hold on. Let's see. Second. Oops. Oh, of course it's slow. It's not coming up here. Okay, here we go. You'll know who I'm saying when I say his name. I just can't think of it for a second. Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very distinct way of talking. He very much stands out on his own. So
Yeah, I agree.
That's an example of an actor that really, really has his own style of talking. Really, I can't think of anyone else that really, except for maybe Christian Slater. I think he kind of talks a little bit like him, and I think it's intentional. But other than that, there's no one else that really talks like him. So getting back to our movie, we have the comical scene where they're placing the microphone in different locations. I do believe they were doing Foley work at the time, basically adding the sounds later on. I think this stuff is a little over exaggerated. I don't think they were doing this even when talking movies came out. They would add the sound afterwards. So the idea that they're actually adding the sound during the movie is not completely true. They were probably doing it for some, but a lot of times they would add the sounds afterwards, including when they show the pre-screening and you're hearing all the sound effects in the movie, which was obviously very comical. They would have removed that. If it was that bad, they would have gone in and redubbed it anyway, because the audio track is obviously separate from the video track. It's not hard to add that afterwards, even during this period of time. So it was kind of silly for them to add that in there for this movie, because no movies were like that. There were exaggerated sound effects or anything like that going on at the time. And the placement of the microphone was obviously, I just think it was just ridiculous, but still funny at the same time. So
I agree. It was funny. And I also was wondering about that because I thought, well, I don't know. I assumed the same kind of thing where I thought that they would film the video part and then go in the studio after and have a screen where the video is up and say their lines again in the studio. It takes like twice as long, but I thought that that's how they did it at the time.
yeah, and I think you're right. I'm pretty sure that a lot of times they would. Sometimes would actually take the actual audio, but the obviously at the very least, recording the audio is very important during the filming, obviously, so that they can actually line it up and match it up with the sound that you're talking about later on too. So I think I would agree that they would most likely do it, but there's a very good chance they did it both ways. I'm not an expert on this, but I do know that was very common, definitely as the movies progressed. So
yeah, and also pearls do not sound like that. When she was messing with them, that is not what pearls sound like at all.
Was this here in the scene?
When they were showing the screening, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
The sound, it sounded a little off. Like the sounds didn't sound like they were supposed to sound.
And then the scene where this is pretty funny. He's like, "What is this cable for?" And he grabs it, and she falls over, which is kind of funny too.
Yeah.
So we're going along. Yeah, this is the scene. This is the scene we're talking about. Where you can hear all those comical sound effects in there, which is obviously done for the sake of this movie. Uh, that's when we realize that then this is a pre-screening, so like this is not out for the general public. So the general public, when they see, have not seen this yet, so they do not know how bad her voice is. So
Yeah, and there's another example of her being stupid. She said that she thought she liked it, and it seemed like she didn't really register any of the people walking by saying negative things about it.
mhm.
Lina, yeah,
Lena, yes, yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And as we go along, he's deciding, Don's deciding that we could make whatever the title was, they were going to make that into a musical. And so they do a little song and dance routine here. And he is, um, he at the very end, they realize, oh, wait a minute, we can't because Lena is not very good. So that's when they come up. The other character there, his name is Cosmo, guy on the left. His idea is, well, he's got an idea, and that's when he decides, he does this thing where he decides we can make we can have her. This is where I'm coming up to right now. Yeah, he's giving a demonstration by having Kathy sing behind him, and he's lip syncing to her singing. So the idea is that we can. This is where he gets the idea where we can, where Kathy can actually do the voice, and Lena can still be on screen doing her performance. So
yeah. I was kind of confused what they were brainstorming though.
yeah, it was like some sort of what I understood it to be he had an idea for a movie or a plot, a script of some sort, that is, and they said we could make it into a musical. So
Is that also what they showed in the dance sequence, the big one at the end?
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was basically the same movie. So that the whole rest of the movie is basically leading up to their first talking movie, essentially. So
Okay.
we're all preparing. They're preparing for that. So then
Yeah, because I thought I was confused because I I thought that they were coming up with a different plot for a different movie, and then they were, I mean, maybe they were just doing two things at once. They were just finishing the one that they started before, and also coming up with ideas for another one.
were they? Okay.
I don't
My
know.
my interpretation was it was the same movie, but I could be wrong. I'm not.
Oh.
So I don't. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. So I just what I knew. The only thing I was focusing on at that point was the fact that they were doing all these old dance routines, and the plot seemed to be slightly irrelevant, like you were saying earlier. So I didn't really focus too much on what they were trying to produce, except I thought it was just one piece. So, but I'm
I
not.
agree.
So I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. So Gene Kelly doing another dance routine, and this is the name of the movie, "Singing in the Rain," and so the cop comes along. I thought this was kind of weird. In real life, I don't think a cop would really get angry at somebody for doing it. It's just for the sake of the movie, I think. So if he saw someone
Yeah.
happy, he probably just let them dance in the rain. So
Yeah. Maybe in the 20s. Maybe it was like that's poor behavior.
mhm.
All I could think of was his socks being wet when I saw that scene, honestly. I like the song, but all I could think about was his socks were soaking wet.
He's basically should have taken his shoes off and done it barefoot then.
Yeah.
So this is the movie, R.F. Simpson. They're running the idea for him. He plays the stuffy, kind of, well, not really too stuffy, a little stuffy, movie executive. They think this is a good idea, so they start getting everything set up for it. We do this, and this is basically them going through the movie idea because they're standing in front of a screen right here, and that's what they've already pre-recorded or pre-filmed, and he's just showing it to them. And then they said we have another idea because they're still standing in front of the screen there, and so this large chunk of the movie right here is them going through all the new dance routines they're going to do for the rest of the movie.
Okay. I must have been looking away at that time or something because I feel like I didn't. That's what I was confused about. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So what you're seeing here is them just this is not really going on essentially in their world. They're just describing it, and we're just seeing what they're describing as.
Yeah. Okay.
So. And this is pretty. I was wondering. I thought this scene right here was interesting. That white thing that's dragging from her is being blown. I'm wondering what kind of fan or whatever they had to make it do that,
I
because
was also wondering that.
that must have been one powerful fan.
And how they set up the scene. I loved this dance routine. I loved how they went from it's like it's exactly what it's like to see someone that you're in love with across the room, and then everyone fades away and they go into this scene and it feels like it's just the two of them in a fantasy world. And that's like exactly how it is in real life. And that's this is one of the scenes that made me think about how Gene Kelly, I think he's just much better at portraying his characters through dance, because this was so like I could really feel the emotion. I don't know about anyone else, but I could really, when I watch this, it's like you can really feel what he's feeling, what they're feeling.
Right, I agree. And I will say, adding just getting back to what I was saying earlier about the fan, he's got short hair, so he can't see anything, but she's got long hair. How did they keep the fan from blowing her hair? This,
That is a good question.
so,
Maybe
but
like a lot of hairspray.
yeah, I guess.
His hair
But
did look hard. Like if you touched it, it would be like hard.
mhm. And I agree with everything you're saying, though. Getting back to what you're saying, yeah, the way he portrayed that was done very well. Everything where it just disappears. It's just the two of them. So, and other movies have done that as well, but this is done very well, especially for
Yeah.
dancing, for just basically dancing and capturing all the emotion. So,
Yeah, and not even like the song was just instrumental. It really stands out as very impressive portrayal of love, really,
mhm. and
without any like words or anything.
and I will say this: this looks very artistic. This whole background, the way it's laid out, it's like something you see on a painting.
It's a
So,
very good illusion. I the whole thing is very impressive. Every part of it. The music is it's not like the music is the focus, so you can really like focus on the dancers. Um and they somehow, like you were talking about, made it so it looked it's it was just a really good illusion. I couldn't tell that her hair was moving, so it didn't look like a really heavy wind, even though it probably was, and it probably would have been really difficult to dance this and have that strong wind. And the whole background is just, it's an illusion. I don't know what's going on, but I like it.
yeah, it's been done very well. I agree. Whole thing. The there we go here. So, and who was she anyway? She was just no one in particular.
Yeah, I think it was just the supposed to be the love interest of the idea.
The idea of the love interest. Okay, okay, I agree. That's a good idea. I like that. And so here we get.
And
He's this was just another scene that they were talking about, and there's just I don't know. I can't think of anything to add about this one. Can you?
um not this scene, but I think with the love interest, I'm pretty sure that she was also supposed to be a gold digger, because he, in that one part, he shows her the like who was it? It was before, when they were in the restaurant. The I guess he's supposed to be in the mob or something. That's what it looked like to me.
Hmm.
Um, it was a little bit before that.
Oh, before this. Okay. Yeah, there
Yeah.
were two guys walking that had scars on their faces.
Yeah, that one guy with a scar. He was, yeah, I think it was, there it is. He was supposed to be I think a mob boss. That's all I can assume from the way that they're portrayed. He shows her like a glittery bracelet, and then she leaves Gene Kelly. Yeah. And then they're like flipping a coin, and that made me laugh, because I don't know, it just looked really funny to me that they were they left flipping a coin to show that they were in the mafia or something like that. And then I think this is like him moving up in his career and like becoming more wealthy. He's
Hmm.
like going through the burlesque and then the
Like the
that,
vaudeville.
and yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, and then he's finally in like a ritzier kind of position. He has more money. He goes to a ritzy party. That's where he sees her again.
Hmm.
And he thinks, maybe now that I have money, she'll be with me. They do the scene, and then after the really cool scene, um, her, the mob boss guy comes back up to her. She flips a coin or something, and then they leave.
I'm afraid to play it because the copyrights on this are very tight lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the scene that you're talking about right here. So, but yeah, I wa- yeah. So basically, they're just the female love interest there is not essential because it's basically he's just relaying this to the RF, the movie guy. So it's not really, it doesn't have to be the actual love interest for the movie. It's the love interest for the play that they're making, essentially.
Right.
Or yeah, the musical, excuse me. So we go up. We get a chance to see them making the behind the scenes. I forget what happens here exactly. Um, but there's a headline that's read, and the RF says he didn't, or one of them says they didn't say the headline, whatever it was.
I think it was RF.
Yeah. And this is where you talked about earlier with the legal action. She says that her clause says she can do something. What was it?
I was a little confused, but she said that she went to her lawyer, and she's the one that like released all these newspapers that said that the production company was super excited to hear Lina's voice and her acting voice and her singing voice. And then she goes up, and they're like, we have to tell the papers that we didn't say this. And then she's like, well, you shouldn't do that, because I went to my lawyer, and um what does she say? I think she says something like, I went to my lawyer, you can't do that because it'll be detrimental to my career, and in the contract it says something like you can't do that or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, something like that effect. And the interesting thing is, if this were the case, she probably wouldn't have come in and said that herself. She probably would just contacted her lawyer and had the lawyer do all that. So, um,
Yeah. And I would also like to add that, have you ever seen, I forget which, have you ever seen any of the Harry Potter movies?
I saw the first one recently. I've not seen other than that. No, I've not. So,
Well, there's in the movies, one of them, I can't remember which one. I'm going to look really quick. Um I think it might have been the Goblet of Fire. No, it was the Order of the Phoenix, the fifth one. Yes, the fifth one. And I think the sixth one as well. Um, there is a character that reminds me a lot of Lina, um, because she wears all pink all the time. And, that's not what Lina does. But in this scene, it really reminded me of her. She wears all pink all the time. And she is like one of those characters that you can't argue with her because they're technically right, but you hate them because they're like so it's just they're so evil, and you can like really tell. But it wasn't, I don't know. And in the Harry Potter movie, the character is named Dolores Umbridge. um so if you ever see the fifth Harry Potter movie, um you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyone who's seen that, it's like a very similar character of you, like you really hate them, and they were all pink.
and was that character in any of the other movies, or was it just that one particular movie?
Of the Harry Potter series, I think she was in the fifth and the sixth. I don't know about the seventh.
Okay. There were seven. I didn't know there were that many. Wow. Okay.
There are a lot. The later ones get pretty dark, but I like the series as a whole. It's good. I like it.
Gotcha. I was on one of the other shows we do on the channel. We reviewed the very first one, so that was my first time ever experiencing Harry Potter. So
It's
uh,
fun. Did you like it?
yeah, it was okay. Yeah. It's the I had a lot of questions based on the reality, why is it that the people in the world, how people outside of the world of the, is it
Yeah,
Hogwarts? How come the people outside in the real world don't seem to know that this sorcery exists?
magic.
Oh, okay, is that what it is? Okay.
I assume that's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's you there's more explanation in the later movies. I'm not going to ruin it just in case you are going to like watch the rest of them. There's a bit more explanation in the later movies. But for the most part, the answer is like magic, really. And the ones I think that would ruin part of it. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Magic.
Okay. How many movies are there altogether?
I think it's just 6 or 7.
Okay. All right. Maybe you and I could review one for an upcoming movie, a review or something. So,
Maybe.
all right. So,
Or The Hobbit.
The Hobbit? Oh, okay. The Hobbits. You mean the 3-parter?
Yes.
Oh,
I think we've talked about that a lot before, and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, if we do that, we'd have to do it over. We couldn't do all 3 at one time. We'd have to probably do like one at a time for me.
Yeah.
But let's see. So this is the first time we get a chance to see the actual movie, and Kathy is doing the voice, where Lina is doing the acting. So now everyone thinks that she has a great voice, and so she goes up on stage, and everyone wants her to sing, and so this is where they come up with the idea to have Kathy in the back actually singing, where Lina is up on stage singing, which doesn't really make much sense. I mean, if you're going to hide the fact that it's her voice, why would you put Kathy behind her? Why don't you just have her way off the stage where no one can see her? It's obviously for the plot, the sake of the plot, so that when the curtain rises, you can see who it is. So
Yeah.
it would make more sense to have her way out of sight, so in case the curtain does rise, you wouldn't see who she is. So.
Yeah. If it was real life, they would have had her way out of sight. But if it was for the plan, I feel like that was part of it, was her being behind her.
Right. So this is where they continue the illusion. Oh, and there's an important scene here. Did you say this? Maybe you did. Kathy gets angry at Dawn.
Yeah, that's the part I was talking about. I feel like that's like her stupid moment, because it's like it's obvious. I feel like it would have been obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and basically the whole idea is she gets angry at Dawn because she's not good. Still has to carry the illusion. She wants her voice to be known. And the movie director RF's like, oh, we think it's only right that everyone knows who she really is. Not fair to her. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't buy that. But this, for the sake of the movie, yeah, we accept it. So, and so she comes out, she starts singing, and then the curtain accidentally comes up, and they did accidentally come up, correct? Or did someone intentionally bring it up?
The three guys pulled it up.
Oh, so it was intentional. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I missed. Okay. So, and then, so Cosmo here comes out.
To prove.
Yeah. And why did he start singing?
To prove that Lina wasn't the one singing in reality. Like I think it was mostly because some people in the audience might have thought that that Kathy was like lip syncing or just standing back there for some reason, and Lina was the one really singing still. So he went out and he started singing to prove that it was Kathy singing and Lina was lip syncing.
Okay, thank you. That makes perfect sense now. Thank you. I saw that. I wasn't thinking of that till just now. I was trying to figure why that was so important. So
I was confused too, but
and then while Kathy runs off stage, she's sad because she's still not getting a recognition. Is that right?
I don't know. I mean, it's another part of her being not that smart. I feel like at that point it would have been even more obvious if she hadn't understood before that they were trying to show that she was the one singing, but it seemed like she was still confused and she ran off stage or something.
Okay. Yeah, and then he makes up with her because everyone got to have a happy ending. He's a nice guy now. She loves him. A little song, we'll sing together. They love each other, and we see that they make a movie, Singing in the Rain, with the two of them. So, Singing in the Rain is not only the title of this movie, but the movie in the fictional universe starring these two fictional characters. So, and they live happily ever after.
I was confused by the poster.
Oh, really?
I thought that I was confused. I thought that they started. I don't know. I thought that they started their own their own like picture show company,
Right.
called it Singin' in the Rain Monumental Pictures. But I was confused because Monumental Pictures was what they were. So yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. So then that's the happy ending, and that's basically it. And and when it goes out, at least in my version, the movie just ends. There's no credits. So I guess all the credits are at the very. Oh, are there? Oh, I guess well, it's not really much of anything. There's hardly anything at all. It just basically.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of movies were like that. Yeah, most of the credits were at the very beginning. So,
Yeah.
and that would be the end of the movie. A happy ending, of course. Which, it's that was the case. Yeah, that was more the case during this period of time. I'm not sure if we would discuss this, but during the 60s into the 70s, it got more. It wasn't always the case where the main character survived or had a happy ending. That was there could always be a darker ending. And then, but during the 80s, it got back into having happy endings again. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's I guess for this one wraps up. It's kind of like almost like a Disney type of story, with the villainous character played by Lina, the emotional good character Kathy, and you're rooting for her to get her right to be recognized for her abilities, and everyone gets what they deserve at the end. Essentially, what happens to Lena at the end? She's still an act. They never say she's just still there. Just not. She's not going to be kicked out or anything. She's just going to. We never really say. She just disappears.
I don't know. I think they just left it at she was embarrassed on stage and you can deduce what happens after that.
Okay.
I don't think they really showed anything what happened.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I don't remember. I just remember she was there, and the next thing she was gone. So, but no explain. Yeah, I like your idea the best. You figure out what happened to her after that. So that's the end of the movie. What is your final thoughts, I guess, about this?
This is my favorite Gene Kelly movie we've seen so far. I really like how much dancing there was. I really love the costuming and the colors. Um, the plot is a bit shaky, which seems to be a trend with the movies that are like heavy on dancing so far. But that's okay. It's easy to ignore the plot because the dancing is very impressive.
Mhm.
Um, and overall, I think I would rate it. I'd probably rate this like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. What do you think?
Um, I'll go about 7.5. I'll go with you on that one. So it's not something I'd watch again anytime soon, though, for sure. But I would highly recommend if somebody likes Gene Kelly to check this one out for sure. So, I would not. As I said, I like Gene Kelly, but I'm not gonna. I'm not really a fan enough to watch his movies over and over and over again. Just once is good, and maybe down the line I might watch scenes of the movie again. But I can't see myself watching the entire movie all over again. So,
I agree.
and as far as yeah, I agree. I'm just zipping through here right now. The scenes are everything is done very well as far as the imagery, for the times. I mean, this was done when movies were still treated more like stage plays. So you have to give it some leniency as far as how the camera work is. So it's more stiff than it would be in a modern setting. It looks like a lot of times it looks like they're on stage sometimes. Um, in fact, there's one scene in particular where they go from one room to another. I can't remember where it is, and you can actually see, it looks very much like they're on a set at that point. They've done that in modern movies, which I think looks really bad. But in an older movie, you can forgive it because like this is still the era where they're going from stage to movie, so it's not as big of a deal. But yeah, you can see them walking through the door, and you can see the camera moves from the one room to the other, and you can see they're going past into the other room. It's obviously a stage at that point. So because you can see the camera going essentially through the wall.
Oh, I know. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I don't forget. I don't like that in modern movies because it makes it look like like you're on a stage. But like I said, for this movie, because it's so old, I can forgive that. So I'm not gonna criticize them for that because they were still making the transition essentially. So, and there were a lot of movies that came out that looked like they were plays at the time. So, And yeah, I can't think of anything else. Everything else was done very well. So I'm just zipping through, see if there's anything else. I will say this one character at the very beginning was kind of weird. I just thought about this. When they get out of the car and they're walking down, this one woman, not her, there's this other woman that gets out. That one right there, her. She was doing these weird, exaggerated movements as she got out of the car. Really weird. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm afraid to play it.
I don't know. I don't think I noticed her movement. I was more focused on. I remember at this point I thought that I had seen her in The Parent Trap, the old one from the '60s, but I was wrong. So I was really focused on looking that up. I don't think I noticed.
This one right here. This one right there. This one. She was doing these weird, exaggerated movements as she walked down. It's like, what? It was almost like she was on something. So
I think maybe those were supposed to be caricatures of like really exaggerated people of the time of like the 20s maybe, because there was the really dark couple that was after them that reminded me of the Addams Family, and maybe that was a stereotype. Maybe these are like stereotypes of people. I don't know.
That's a good idea. I like that. I like that a lot. So, okay. Yeah. Anything else you like to add? I think that's about it. I think I'm done with my thoughts on this movie.
Me too.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's go check out our question from earlier. Let me bring this up. A pretty decent response here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so it looks like we refresh one more time. 78 votes so far, and let me see, one comment. Sure, it's only one. Brandon P just saying play GTA San Andreas. Okay, so what's the best thing? Oh, that's what he likes to do when it rains. Good. Okay, good response there. So I'm Brandon P, a regular contributor. Thank you for that. So with 63%, getting close to 2/3, saying watch a movie. Next we got 21% pretend you're in a sad music video and look longingly out a window. That's interesting. That they got that high. 9% with read a book, 5% with bake and cook, and 3% with sing in the rain.
That's funny. I think I would have thought it would be more sing in the rain and also pretend you're in a music video, because those are kind of the funnier answers.
That's okay. I see what you're saying. So people wouldn't take it so seriously. I think a lot of people took this more seriously. So.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
If they were jokingly around, they probably would have. Maybe we should have put those at the very top. So.
That's true.
Because they probably looked at this and watched movies. So, oh, that's good enough for me, and they didn't read the rest of them. I don't know. I'm just making a guess there. Read a book, they can cook. So those were more than singing in the rain. I think if we put it at the top, it probably would have gotten more answers, more votes. I mean, so
that's true.
Alrighty, so that's it. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap everything up?
Well, I have 2 movie ideas. Do you have any movie ideas?
No. Well, kind of I do, but let's hear yours. And if yours sound good, we can go with those.
My first one is, since we're on a roll with Gene Kelly, we could just finish it off with the last kind of biggest Gene Kelly movie. I don't know what it's about, but I know that it's one of the big Gene Kelly movies. I think it's called The Pirate. We could finish off the Gene Kelly run with that, or we could watch this movie Airheads from 1994 with Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler. I think I've seen part of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. Either one.
Pirate? I'm looking. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. Let me. Oh wow, Pirate is. Let me bring that up since we're talking about it. Here it is. Is that the one? 1948?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan, but let's go with the other one instead for now, because we've watched 3 Gene Kelly movies in a row. Maybe we can come back to this one on a later date.
I agree. Okay. Airheads was the other one. I'm not an Adam Sandler fan either, but I am a Brendan Fraser fan, so maybe it'll balance out. I don't really like Adam Sandler's style of comedy.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Is this one where I'm sorry, is this one where they go to the radio station?
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen this one. Actually, I forgot about this. Yeah, I forgot about this. I saw it when it first came out. So.
Oh, I think I saw part of it, but I don't. I think it was just on TV, and I don't know. I don't remember really anything that happened.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting because and Judd Nelson there too. Yeah, yeah, it's funny because and Michael Keaton. How do you pronounce his name again? Hold on a second. Michael McKean. I forgot his name. He's a famous actor too. Yeah, yeah. As soon as I saw, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. So yeah, and actually, Adam Sandler is not. I don't find him annoying in this one. So I'm not gonna give anything away. He was not. I remember saying this. He was not annoying. So, but okay, yeah, let's do that. And before I forget, or before we say goodbye, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have the affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. So if you'd like to support what we're doing, I would really appreciate that. If you can hide your location, protect your identity, and a lot of people use it for streaming, and there's other things you can use it for as well. It's right now it's a 60% off, which is pretty nice. Comes to like $329 a month. That's USD, and it's if you decide to purchase, again, I'm repeating myself. If you decide to purchase the service, that helps fund what we're doing, and we really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. I also think that Adam Sandler, I think since this was earlier in his career, that's probably why it wasn't as annoying. And I know a lot of people are big fans of Adam Sandler. It's just that for me, it's kind of childish.
I'm not sure what it is about him. I just find him annoying generally.
Yeah.
So I will say this though: there's a movie that he produced that he was not in. That actually, like, if you've ever seen this one, it's called Joe Dirt, which stars David Spade, and that was I thought it was going to be a dumb movie to watch, and I actually really like this one. So, but Adam Sandler, he's one of the executive producers or something, but he does not star in the movie. So
we could watch that one next show.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen that, and I've been meaning to. I just haven't had a reason. So.
Okay, I'm not going to give anything away, but I will say there was a sequel that went direct to the video, and it was awful. So I sat there because I liked this one. I was like, oh, good, a sequel, and the sequel came out. I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. So
yeah,
the funny part is, I will say this: David Spade and Fred Wolf can write pretty well, but we're jumping really far ahead here. But the director, I forget her name. I can't read her name there. She is really good. So I think the writing was okay, but she really added a lot to the movie. I think it was her that really made the movie really good, in my opinion. And she was absent from the sequel, and I think that's why it didn't do very well. So.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right. So next week we'll watch Airheads, and thanks everybody for watching. And we'll see you then. We'll be 2 weeks. We'll do 2 weeks from today. Is that good for you?
Yes.
Cool. All right. See you then, everybody.